Welcome to the channel ABC Chemistry and part 3 of infrared spectroscopy. And this part is all about instrumentation and features of IR spectrum. Infrared spectroscopy involves the interaction between infrared radiations and the sample. And this interaction takes place within an instrument which is known as IR spectrometer or IR spectrophotometer. There are three types of IR spectrometer. The first one is single beam IR spectrometer. Second is dual beam IR spectrometer. Third is FTIR, where FT stands for Fourier transform IR spectrometer. The interaction is carried out to determine what type of bonds and functional groups are present within the unknown compound. And the information which detector detects is recorded by the recorder in the form of graph, which is known as IR spectrum. The spectrum shown here is just an example. Different organic compounds have their different IR spectrums because the bonds and the functional groups present in them that can vary. Moreover, the position of these bands, or I can say the upside down peaks, they will also get varied accordingly. Components of IR spectrometer. So let me introduce you with all the components which are used within the IR spectrometer. First, we have the light source, which is going to emit the infrared radiations. Second is the sample compartments, the compartments where the sample is placed. And within the sample compartments, there are two cells. The one is known as sample cell and the other is known as reference cell. Third is the chopper, which is basically rotating all the time. And it has got two sections. The one is known as black section and the other is known as transparent section. Next is monochromator. Mono means one, chrome means color. So monochromator allows light of one color or one particular wavelength to pass through it at one particular time. Next is detector. So detector basically detects how much amount of light is getting absorbed or transmitted through the sample molecule. And whatever detector detects, that is recorded by the recorder in the form of IR spectrum. And along the vertical axis, we have percentage transmittance, and along x-axis, we have the wave numbers of the IR radiations. Instrumentation. Here I am going to explain the instrumentation of dual beam IR spectrometer. So before I start that, I will tell you how the components are arranged within the spectrometer. So first we have the light source. So light source is going to emit the infrared radiations. Like I said, I am going to explain dual beam IR spectrometer. It means our light source is going to emit two beams of infrared radiations. Next comes the sample compartment. And within the sample compartment, like I told you, we have the sample cell. So within the sample cell, our sample is placed. So if our sample is in the solid form, then that solid compound is dissolved in a suitable organic solvent to form a solution. We can't directly place the solid compound in the sample cell because the light or the infrared radiations will be scattered to a maximum extent. And the solvent which we are going to use here for forming the solution, they are chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, acetone, carbon disulfide. So any of them can be used to form the solution. Second, we have the reference cell within the same sample compartment where the solvent is filled in And the same solvent is used which was used to prepare the solution for the solid compound. Then we have the optical chopper. Optical chopper is rotating and it has got two sections, the black section and the transparent section. The black section will not allow the light to pass through it. As a result, it will be reflected back. Whereas the transparent section will allow the light to pass through it. Then we have the slit. Slit is basically used to allow the light to enter into and exit from the monochromator. Monochromator involves the set of mirrors, diffraction grating, and the slit within it. After monochromator comes the detector and then is a recorder. Now let me tell you how this works. So like I said, the light source is going to emit two beams of infrared radiations. And one of the beam is allowed to pass through the reference cell with the help of mirror, and the other beam is allowed to pass through the sample cell. The reference beam which is coming out of the reference cell is of same intensity. It means that the solvent molecules are not showing any kind of absorption towards the infrared radiations. Whereas the sample beam which is coming out of the sample cell varies in intensity. It means certain amount of absorption has been shown by the sample molecules. Both the beams are then made to reflect onto the chopper with the help of mirrors. And like I said, the chopper is rotating and its rotation is fixed in such a way that it will allow both the beams to pass through it alternatively. So when the reference beam is passing through the transparent section, at that time, the sample beam is getting reflected back after hitting the black section. And the reference beam will be then allowed to enter into the monochromator through the slits. And this reference beam with the help of mirror is then made to incident on the diffraction grating, which is used to disperse polychromatic light into its constituent wavelengths at different angles, like you can see. And from those radiations, a light of one particular wavelength is selected. The radiation which falls in the middle IR region, that will be selected and will be allowed to reach the detector. And at the other time, the sample beam will be allowed to pass through the chopper, and at that time, the reference beam will be reflected back. And the sample beam will follow the same path and will reach the detector. And detector will automatically take away the intensity of reference beam from the intensity of sample beam in order to detect what amount of radiations are getting absorbed by the sample molecule. And whatever detector detects, that is recorded by the recorder in the form of IR spectrum. Now let me explain you these components in detail one by one. Light source. A filament is used which is electrically heated to a temperature between 1500 and 2200 Kelvin. And the two main light sources which are used within IR spectrometer are Nernst blower and the Glauber. So Glauber is basically a silicon carbide rod which is electrically heated and then it starts emitting infrared radiations. Next we have the sample compartments. Within the sample compartments, we have the reference cell which contains only the solvent like I told you. Next we have the sample cell which contains the sample. And sample can be employed in any form. We can use a solid sample, liquid sample and the gaseous sample. It is easy to run the spectrum with the liquid and the gas samples, and it's a bit harder with the solid samples because they scatter the infrared radiations to a larger extent. So in case we have to use the solid sample, There are three ways by which we can change that solid form and then we can run the spectrum. The first one is solid run in solution. Means solid is dissolved in a suitable organic solvent and the solution which is prepared, that is then used to find out what type of bonds and functional groups are present within the sample molecule. Second is the mull technique. Solid is converted into a fine powder using a mortar, and then that powder is either mixed with mineral oil or the nugol to form the paste. And that paste is then applied on the salt plates, and both the plates are then pressed against each other to form a thin film of the sample. And those plates are then inserted in the spectrometer and the spectrum is generated. Next, we have the pressed pallet technique. Here again, the sample is converted into a fine powder and then it is mixed with 100 times its weight of potassium bromide. And under a very high pressure, a pallet is formed, which is again then placed in the spectrometer and the spectrum is run. So this is how the salt plates look like and how the paste or the solution is applied over them. And then these two plates are pressed against each other and then inserted into the spectrometer. And we have to take care that these sample cells, reference cells, or these salt plates, these must be made from NaCl or KBr. And the other thing which we have to take care is that they must be stored in a water-free environment because water itself strongly absorbs the infrared radiations. Optical chopper. So the two beams, sample and the reference beam, they are reflected to a chopper which is rotating. The reference and the sample beam fall on the monochromator grating alternatively. And because of that, the individual frequencies will be sent to the monochromator and then to the detector. Monochromator. Monochromator is used to separate polychromatic light into suitable monochromatic light by means of prism and diffraction gratings. And the spectrometer, which I explained, that was making use of diffraction gratings within the monochromator. Some other spectrometers even make use of prisms within the monochromator. Detector, it scans the entire range of IR frequencies and it will then convert the energy of the radiations received into electrical signal. Signal produced is proportional to the difference in the intensity of the radiation in the sample and the reference beams. Amplifier. Sometimes there can be a case when the signal produced by the detector is weak. So in order to increase the intensity of the signal, amplifier is used. Recorder. It is used to record the IR spectrum and it produces a spectrum that contains a plot of the amount of light transmitted on the vertical axis against the wavelength or wave number of infrared radiations on the horizontal axis. Features of IR spectrum. First, frequency of electromagnetic radiation is expressed in terms of wave numbers, which is inversely proportional to wavelength. So in part 1 of infrared spectroscopy, I already explained how we can convert the wave numbers into wavelength and vice versa. Second, horizontal axis of IR spectrum shows the wave number and the highest wave number is usually shown on the left. This axis often has two scales to ensure all features are visible. Third, the vertical axis of an IR spectrum shows the percentage transmittance on a scale of 0 to 100. The absorption bands appear as inverted peaks in the spectrum. Now let us visualize all these points one by one in this spectrum. So as you can see, along the horizontal axis, we have wave number here, and the higher wave number is written on the left hand side. Along the vertical axis, we have percentage transmittance on the scale of 0 to 100. And if you will see, when I move from 4000 to 3000, 3000 to 2000, these are getting varied from each other by a wave number of 1000 per centimeter. And when I move from 2000 to 1500, 1500 to 1000, 1000 to 500, these are getting varied from each other by a wave number of 500 per centimeter. So that's why we say two scales are getting used along the horizontal axis. This horizontal axis, or the middle IR region, is divided into two regions. First one is functional group region. Means the region corresponding to wave number 4000 and between 1500 is known as functional group region, because this region helps us to determine what type of functional groups are present within the sample molecule. And looking at the absorption bands, we can determine that. Second, we have the fingerprint region, which goes from 1500 onwards to 500 per centimeter. And this fingerprint region is a bit complex. As you can see, we have lots of absorption bands here. And it is basically used to determine the identity of the compound. And it is unique to particular element. Then we have a line here on the top, which is known as baseline. So the line corresponding to 100% transmittance is known as baseline. One more thing which I can add here is that the bands which are getting formed in the functional group region, they are mainly due to the stretching vibrations which are taking place within the sample molecule. And the fingerprint region, the bands which are getting formed, they are mainly due to the bending and the stretching vibrations. Different shapes and strengths of IR absorption bands. So first, if we talk about the shapes, we can either have the broad absorption bands or either we can have the narrow absorption bands. And the shape of the band depends upon what type of atoms are present within the bond or within the sample molecule. We will be discussing all this in detail when I'll be explaining the interpretation part of IR spectrum. Then we have the word strength here. Strength means we are talking about the intensity of IR absorption band. So if the intensity of IR absorption band is higher, we say we will have a strong absorption band, which will look like this. If the intensity of IR absorption band is lower, we will have an absorption band which will look like this, or we will have a weak absorption band. So this intensity basically depends upon the polarity of the bond or the presence of electronegative atom within the bond. So if the polarity of the bond will be higher, it will undergo change in dipole moment to a larger extent and will absorb IR radiations to a larger extent, and because of that the intensity will increase and we will have strong absorption bands. So I hope this video will be helpful to you, and if you haven't subscribed the channel till now, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon button so that you can stay in touch with all the coming updates. Thank you. Till then, keep watching, keep learning.